Coming up on Bloom, the countdown to Paris is on with three-time Olympic champion Brooke Bennett.
In the Tampa Bay area, we have close to a dozen local athletes that are going to be competing. I've always said Tampa Bay is a hotbed for the Olympians.
And how to shift into a higher gear and win at life.
What's something I can do to get rid of a fear that I have? First thing is you got to confess the fear.
And take a look inside the Bucks Training Center as we gear up for the Bloom Health Expo. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. The countdown to Paris is on. We are now just weeks away from the 2024 Summer Olympics. Paris is prepping its venues built at some of the city's most famous sites, getting ready to host its first Olympics in 100 years. And three-time Olympic champion Brooke Bennett is keeping her finger on the pulse of what's happening as millions of spectators get ready to cheer on the world's top athletes. And Brooke is here as we continue our countdown to Paris. It is so great to see you again.
It's exciting. It's here now. It's like knocking on the door.
It is.
To me, it's more exciting than the countdown for Christmas.
I know. And speaking of exciting, yes. I know you've been working with JB Buno, our WFLA Now head anchor. Yeah. And now this is up for grabs for all of Nexstar stations, which, by the way, we're the largest media conglomerate in the country. So yes. This is huge. I mean, the exposure.
This can be up into 173 markets, and they've kind of given me the floor to talk about the Olympics and look at the hot items coming out of Paris and the athletes and the performances. So the pressure is on, but I feel like I handle myself well under pressure, right? Sure. That I can stand up and be golden when it's time to go, right?
Yeah, but you are a three-time Olympic champion, so I think you can handle it. And it is cool to get your perspective on the different athletes, and I know you know many of them. Yes. And we just had Bobby Fink on the show, or he's actually coming up on the show.
Yes.
He's practicing like hard and heavy, like he's getting ready.
He is ready. The U.S. team is together after the trials. Of course, I was watching it, prelims and finals on live stream. Like, I wouldn't wait for it to come out on prime time. I had to know. It'll be the same thing going into Paris. I watch a lot of the events happen that I don't want to wait for the prime time. I'll watch it again in case I miss anything. But for Bobby Fink to be going back, our kind of local hero, and he can defend his 2 Olympic gold medals from Tokyo. I think the exciting things for these Olympians is Tokyo was no spectators. We were dealing so much with COVID then, and it was a year delay, and now you have fans and spectators and families are there. So this is, essentially a totally different Olympics for these athletes that are repeating again.
So what are some of the key, venues and athletes that you're keeping your eye out on?
Well, so in just locally in the Tampa Bay area, we have close to a dozen local athletes that are going to be competing, which is, I've always said Tampa Bay is a hotbed for the Olympians. Of course, the swimmers. Big in the news right now, I've seen a lot of coverage on Danielle Collins, who is the tennis player who is having the best career of her life, but she's saying she's retiring after Paris. So nothing like going out on top and being an Olympian. Noah Lyons is our local sailor that's going to be competing in foiling for the first time in the Olympics. Plus we have a couple of track and field athletes, golf athletes, rowing. So it's going to be fun to watch those local ones. But of course, really for me, the Summer Olympics is everything is exciting. And the storylines kind of present and happen as the events do. And that's what makes it just so much fun to cover.
And it is also fun to watch as the host city kind of transforms, because I know a lot of the Olympics are being held inside a football stadium in Paris, France.
Yeah, and just the difference of what each country does and where they put the venues. And there's going to be some controversy, I think, on the open water and the triathlon triathlons if the water is going to be clean. I read an article about a week ago talking about if Paris gets a lot of rain, they'll have to move that venue to possibly the rowing basin. But more spectators, more people there to actually watch. So I think Paris is really just going to come alive. I mean, isn't it it's a destination city in itself, but now to be hosting the Olympics again, I think is going to be even more exciting because we're thriving for the spectator and the interaction with the athletes.
Let's rewind a little bit and get your personal perspective. What was it like for you when you were training as an athlete to go on a global stage like the Olympics?
For myself, and I'm sure for many of these athletes, when you're performing and you've qualified and you're getting ready to go into the Olympic Games, it's very much the blinders are on. You figure out as an athlete how to block out all the noise. That I say you have to start doing things that fill your cup, not empty your cup. So media coverage has to be very specific on the time that I'm providing, because first and foremost is my training gearing up for the Olympics and for my events, and that includes my diet, that includes my rest. And you have to do those things that check the box, and you have to politely be able to say, no, I'll come to you later. But first let me perform, because then everything else that happens afterwards is based off of your performance.
All right, we have about a minute left. Any other advice for all of us viewers out there gearing up for this spectacular event?
Enjoy it. Get behind our locals, of course. I say put the calendar out, study it, know when you want to watch it, where are you going to watch it. We have so many avenues. But just remember, don't get on your social media and start blasting the athletes if a performance doesn't go well or an athlete is struggling, because as much as I say we put the blinders on, they still do hear it. And all of us, our athletes, are human. We are not perfect, and we're getting up on the biggest stage of our careers to try to perform in front of the world. And this is a dream come true for us. And the best events, the worst events, it doesn't matter. They're all still Olympians.
I like that. So for all you trolls out there, stand down.
Be kind.
Once, be kind. And hey, congratulations on all of this incredible exposure. And we appreciate what you do as far as giving us a firsthand look as to what's going on.
I'm excited.
All right, we're going to share this story with you on BloomTampaBay.com. And we are thrilled. Brooke joined us on our podcast, The Bloom Health Club, in the WFLA Now Streaming Center to continue this incredible conversation. You can stream the full episode anytime on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. As the Olympic nears, today we're helping you go for the gold in life. Joining me now is Hall of Fame keynote speaker, peak performance expert, and the author of Shift into a Higher Gear, Better Your Best, and Live Life to the Fullest, Dr. Delatoro McNeil. It is so great to see you and have you back.
Always honored to be here with you.
Oh my goodness, and we were all just watching you on the Today Show again. And if you missed it, it'll be back in September.
Exactly, yep.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
People really want to hear your advice about living life in a higher gear.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how just the slightest of a mindset shift can change everything in your life.
You know, one of the things that I love, there's a great quote that I heard a long time ago, and it said, winning isn't everything, but wanting to win is.
Right.
I'm gonna say that again. Winning isn't everything, but wanting to win absolutely is. And one of the things that I love about that quote is that it helps us to remember the importance of our mindset. See, nobody, Gayle, can give us the desire to win. We got to produce that ourselves. So I think it's so vitally important that we show up every day with a desire, a drive, a craving, a wanting. Even as I coach and mentor speakers and authors, I say, listen, you got to put in the work. You got to want this. You got to desire this, because if you don't have that initial innate desire, you and I both have seen examples of people where we wanted something more for someone than they wanted it for themselves. And guess what? It never works, does it? At the end of the day, the only way we can really win in life is that we have to have that internal desire to make something better of our lives.
And as we get ready for the Olympics, which is right around the corner, you say this is a good reminder that we should live our lives with the mindset of an Olympic athlete going for the gold.
Exactly. And here's the question, Gayle. Do Olympic athletes who train for decades for moments of glory, do they practice to get better once a year? No. Once a quarter? No. Once a month? No. Once a week? No. The best get better daily. Olympic athletes practice every single day. And here's what I've learned. The key to our success or failure is hidden in what we're committed to doing daily. So every single day, we need to live life like an Olympian, meaning we got to get up every day and get 1% better. Just one. That's what I talk about in the book. Getting 1% better in one area, whether it's forgiveness or your physical body or your mindset or your emotional states, right? Or your parenting or your romantic connection with your partner. Get 1% better in that one area every single day. Do you know that at the end of a year, you'll be 37% better in that thing at the end of 1 year?
That's remarkable.
Just from tiny little improvements on a daily basis.
37%. That is a pretty
That's a
significant.
massive-
Yeah.
And it's sustainable because we got better 1% every day. So it's sustainable. Anybody can say, let me get 50% better, 80% better. Yeah, you get there and you come right back down. But incremental sustainable success is what we're after.
All right, I love that. And you talk about interpersonal leadership. What
Woo!
exactly is that?
See, if we're going to live this gold medal Olympic amazing gangster crunk life, right?
Yeah.
We got to have interpersonal leadership. Well, Dr. Del Toro, what is that? I believe every great leader, Gayle, does three things. We talk about this in chapter 4 of the book. Every great leader does three things. Number one, we have to be a realist. We have to see things as they are. Second thing we got to do is we have to become an optimist and see things better than the way they are. And the third thing we got to be willing to do is we got to be an activist, and we got to get up every day and make it like we see it. So, for example, we're talking about health and wellness. See your body like it is. Be a realist. How do you look in the mirror naked? Do you like how you look? Yes or no? Number two, see it better than the way it is. See your body in more great shape, more toned, more fit, right? Better nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. Number three, get up every day and do something, even if it's for 20 minutes a day, to make your body like you see it. So great interpersonal leadership means seeing whatever it is that we're trying to work on in our lives and our careers, seeing it as it is, which makes us a realist, see it better than it is, which makes us an optimist, and see it, and then every day get up and make it like we see it, which makes us an activist. So if we do those things, realist, optimist, activist, we're developing and leveraging that internal interpersonal leadership that allows us to be Olympic in life.
I love that. I love that. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And I know, like we talked about you being on national platforms like the Today Show, and I know you've done that on a global level as well. But you also work with companies. You go to conferences, and you share photos of yourself because not just to brag about your great life, because we love all the things that you do, but to teach people through your experiences. So talk to me about this.
See, I believe that every single day we have beautiful moments that we can live to the fullest, whether it's enjoying a beautiful sunset, right? Or whether it's going to the beach and just enjoying nature, the gulls, the water, the sand, the meals, the grilling, all the stuff that we do, friends and family, right? Or if it's going on a motorcycle ride with my good buddies that we ride together, right? Or going for a great workout, right? Every single one of us have every opportunity that we can to live life to the fullest. I went to Lakeland and did a Groupon with some friends and did skydiving for the first time. And people say, oh my God, I could never skydive because they're afraid. I'm like, okay, do you do roller coasters? They're like, yeah, I love roller coasters. I'm like, roller coasters are scarier than skydiving. Literally, because when you skydive, you can't see the ground. There's so much wind coming up at your face, Gayle. When I was skydiving, all I saw was Orlando, and I was in Lakeland, and all I could see was Orlando because all you can see is blue sky. And it's so I love to show the photos of the things that I do to help people understand that you can live an amazing quality of life. You don't have to spend zillions of millions of dollars in order to live an incredible life. You can take advantage of amazing things right in your own city. And if you just take advantage of some of those opportunities to get out and do something different and unique, you can live an incredible life.
I love it. And last but not least, we're going to continue this conversation, but for right now, what are some of the key pillars, would you say, in a gold medal life?
I think a gold medal life includes having a family that you love and care about, which I know you're so huge on family. I think a gold medal life is having incredible colleagues and friends that you can do amazing things with and share industry with. I think a gold medal life includes loving what you do for a career. making a difference and a dollar at the same time. I think that's a gold medal life. I think a gold medal life is philanthropy, where we can give back, where we live life in what I call surplus mode or bonus mode, because we have so much that we've built up, we can bless other people.
Yes.
I think those are core pillars of living an abundant life, being in alignment with whatever your divine spiritual aspirations are, whatever they are, whether you go to a church, a spiritual campus, a synagogue, or a mosque. Being in alignment with whatever your divine assignment is, I think, is a major pillar. I love getting up every day. Gayle, you were born for this. You're anointed for this. And it shows. And I'm anointed to do what I do, right?
Amen to that.
Right? So
yes, you are.
So you can tell when people are operating in their divine alignment with their gifts and talents. And I think when we're operating in that, I really feel like that's living the gold medal life.
I love it. That is, gives me goosebumps. But because we love this guy so much, we can never let him go in just one segment. There's a lot more to talk about. So Dr. Delatoro is sticking around to share more about how fear-based living can keep you stagnant in life. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about it.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. We are back with Hall of Fame keynote speaker, peak performance expert, and the author of Shift into a Higher Gear, Better Your Best, and Live Life to the Fullest, Dr. Delatoro McNeil, who's helping us go for the gold in the game of life. Thanks for being here.
It's an honor indeed. Honor indeed, Gayle. Always love being with you.
So, likewise. I mean, we all light up here on the Bloom staff when you walk into the studio. You're just such a breath of fresh air. And you help us all see a way to live life better just through small shifts.
Yes.
And one thing that you believe we need to shift away from is fear-based living.
Ooh, Gayle, this is one of my favorite subjects. So listen, every single day that we wake up, Gayle, there are two warriors inside of us. The warrior of fear and the warrior of faith. And the warrior that wins the day is the one that we feed the most. Now, our action and our belief feeds our faith. Our inaction and our doubt feeds our fears. So every single day, we got to get up and feed the faith so we can go out there and live life to the fullest.
And you talk about this in your book, Shift into a Higher Gear, which
Absolutely.
I love the analogy because I know you're an avid motorcycle riding
Yes,
fan.
ma'am.
And you know, a lot of us, when we think of riding a motorcycle and you think leaning into the turn would be
Right.
so scary. Like
Exactly.
you want to lean away from a turn, but no, that's not the way it works.
Exactly.
Leaning in is what keeps you riding smoothly.
Exactly. It's so huge. It's so like cars are cool, motorcycles are cooler, right?
Yeah.
Because and so it's so amazing, Gayle. I live a life that allows me to overcome and confront fears literally every day. Public speaking is the #1 fear in almost the world. It's in the top 3 fears globally. People would rather go on a scary roller coaster, get hit by a car, get in a plane crash, than have to give a presentation.
That's crazy.
Which gives me job security.
Right, yeah. I like that.
So I speak for a living and I ride a motorcycle, and I love that because it's a beautiful analogy about life and business. And like you said, in a car, if you want to go to left or right, you got to turn the steering wheel, right? I drove my Escalade here. I had to like do all this stuff. I ain't got to do none of that when I get on my motorcycle. All I have to do is lean. And when I lean in the direction of where I want to go, the bike goes that direction. So the motorcycle of our life and business is taking 100% of its direction from our intention. And it knows our intention based upon where we put our weight. So what we have to learn how to do is we have to lean into the things that we really want. Because that's what the motorcycle of your life and business is waiting for you to do. Just lean in the direction you want to go, and it's going to go there. Now, as you lean, you're like, oh man, gravity's working against me. So how do I stay upright? You got to give the bike gas. You got to roll the throttle, right? Gas and speed is the only thing, Gayle, that keeps the motorcycle upright. And so we have to understand it's about negativity and positivity. Just like how gravity is pulling us down, negativity does the same thing.
Yes.
So we cannot live life. Listen, fear's going to knock on your door. Every time you try something new, Gayle, or something different, or something special and unique that's out of the ordinary, fear shows up and says, wait a minute, should we be doing this? Because fear thinks you're 5 years old. Let's just talk about it for a quick second. Fear, you have to look at fear as its own entity. right? Because a lot of times we get mad at ourselves for experiencing fear. Fear is a natural human emotion that you're going to experience. But when fear knocks on the front door, you don't have to let it in and give it a room in your house and let it stay for a year. Let faith show up.
Yeah.
And when faith shows up at your front door, when fear shows up, faith shows up, fear has to disappear. It can't stay. The both can't stay in the same space. Think about it. If this studio it was pitch black dark, we don't have to take a shovel and scoop out the darkness. All you gotta do is what?
Walk out.
Flick on the light.
Oh, the flick on the lights.
Right?
I would say walk into a room with lights.
Right. Same notion, right?
Yeah.
So if we want to remove some of the fear that we experience on a daily basis, we got to learn how to stop trying to get rid of fear and spend more time turning on faith.
No, I like that. I like that. And turning on faith is a beautiful way to live your life. And I wanted to ask a question.
Please.
Do you believe, because, we talk a lot about, the way you think and the lens you look through will manifest your life.
Absolutely.
Now, there's no doubt when it comes to life, bad things happen. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly living in that fear-based mentality,
Right.
are you inviting in the negativity?
1,000,000%. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, here's the truth, right? Your mind is just like a radio. Whatever station you tune it to is the frequency you receive. I'm going to say that again slower. Our minds are just like radios, Gayle. Think about it. If you're in the car and you tune your mind to you tune your radio to a country station, country music comes out. R&B station, R&B comes out. Smooth jazz station, smooth jazz comes out. When you tune your mind to what you're constantly afraid of, what can show up in your life except more things to be afraid of? But if you tune your mind to what's working, when you tune your mind to positivity, faith, possibility, opportunity, all of a sudden, the only thing that can come through that radio station is more of those things. You have to understand something, right? If you think about it, fear is almost like your comfort zone was established by fear to keep you safe. Comfort zone, CZ, cubic zirconia. It's not real, but it appears like it's real. That's a real diamond. The cubic zirconia is not. Just like how fear isn't. False evidence appearing real. Fear makes you think it's really real, but it's really not, right? We all remember the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy was afraid of that big old wizard and the big old Oz until she realized this is this tiny man on a megaphone right at the very end. But she goes through this whole process, right? And we spend so much of our lives being afraid of things that we don't have to be afraid of. But just you have to try. So you're probably, people who are listening are watching probably saying, okay, what's something I can do to get rid of a fear that I have? First thing is you got to confess the fear. I am afraid of public speaking, or I am afraid of falling in love again, or I'm afraid of having to be consistent at the gym because everybody else at the gym looks better than I do, and if I go, I look like a lazy slacker because I can't do burpees and I can't do all. Whatever you're afraid of, confess it. Let it come out of your mouth. Articulate the fear. Second thing, find someone who believes in you in that area and surround yourself with them and ask them, hey, can we do this together? I want to do my first 5K, but I'm afraid that I won't be in shape in time for the race.
Get a buddy.
Get a buddy, and y'all train together. Success is better together. Achievement is better together. If there's something you're afraid of, do it with somebody else. When I skydived, I didn't do it by myself. I did it with 6 other people on somebody's birthday. And so it was like a fun, cool thing. And the energy of celebrating somebody else helped me get out of the fear of jumping out of a plane at 18,000 feet up and dropping through clouds. Sis, I dropped through clouds. That was so gangster.
I love
you
it.
can't make that
I'm
up.
so proud of you.
It was so awesome, right?
I love it. We adore you, Dr. Delatorre.
Thanks
Thank you
so
so much. You're the best.
I appreciate it.
I gotta gear up and do that one of these times. We're gonna share Dr. Delatorre's stories with you on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Advent Health.
Welcome back to Bloom. Having the right team of medical professionals working together to treat obesity is so important. At Advent Health, their endocrinologists and bariatric surgeons work together to help patients win the battle with obesity and weight loss. I'm at Advent Health Multi-Specialty Office at Winthrop with bariatric surgeon Dr. Venkat and endocrinologist Dr. Kannan. Thanks for having me out here.
Our pleasure.
So I understand that you guys are husband and wife. How do you bring your specialties together to help people on their weight loss journey?
I'm going to go first with that. So we try to provide a comprehensive whole person approach to this complex disease of weight struggle that we call obesity. As an endocrinologist, this disease is always baffling to me because of the interplay of hormones. So when the person comes in with the weight struggle, I try to evaluate them, understand their disease, and come up with treatment options that are different from person to person. And as a bariatric surgeon, he tries to help out with the things that I cannot do, being a medical specialist. So I channelize patients that way, but our communication is both ways. So if people have already had surgery and the disease relapses, or they don't qualify for surgery, but they've stepped into his door first, he sends them my way.
That's great. So there's like a synergy going on. Dr. Venkat, what are some common misconceptions that people have about bariatric surgery?
First of all, when they hear about the word surgery, everybody is kind of taken back, and do I need to have surgery? I'm okay, and things like that. To me, I always look at things like this, right? It's not about weight in pounds, it's about what goes with the weight, right? So a lot of times when someone is overweight, they not only have overweight issue, but also they have issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, acid reflux, joint problems, so on and so forth, right? I can list so many things that go with the weight. So it's not just weight, it's a lot of things that go with it. That's why we say it's a metabolic problem. And it's a complex disease process which cannot be handled with one approach. So when the weight goes beyond a certain limit, we say one approach alone is not going to help them in the long run. So it's not just surgical approach, it's not just non-surgical approach. When the weight goes beyond a certain limit, we say it has to be combined, both surgical and non-surgical approach, and that's where it, both of us working together in tandem helps them in the long run.
And I think that's going to, be comforting to people to know that there are different options and that you guys work together. If somebody's watching right now and they want to go on a weight loss journey, what should they do?
I would first reinforce that this is a disease, so they need to seek medical attention so that we can understand their disease. It is unique from person to person. Their struggles are unique. Their treatment options are going to be very unique compared to even their siblings or their friends that they've known of. So the first thing is seek attention, please. There's help available whether you qualify for surgery or not, whether you qualify for medications or not. So that's one. And the second thing is don't be afraid. There's a lot of help, and we take a team approach, and we have a lot of support.
Yeah, I really do like the part of this whole team approach, and it must mean a lot to both of you to be able to help people on their weight loss journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. Weight loss journey usually starts with non-surgical approach. And of course, when the weight, like I said, goes beyond a certain limit, we go with the number called BMI, which is body mass index, which is calculated based on someone's height and their weight. And the normal BMI is 19 to 25. So anytime BMI goes beyond 25, that's when we say overweight. And anytime BMI goes beyond 30, that's when we say obesity. So when someone has overweight issue of 25 to 30, then non-surgical approach alone is enough for them to address their weight needs. But when the BMI goes beyond 30 and 35, that's when we talk about the combined non-surgical and surgical approach. And I always tell my patients, just because I do surgery doesn't mean it's done there. It's actually starting there, and that has to be combined with the non-surgical side of it for them to maintain their weight loss journey for a long term.
Thank you both so much for inviting me out today and sharing this valuable information with our viewers.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Our pleasure.
It's amazing how the doctors work together to help so many people. Remember, preventative care starts with you. Visit mybariatriccare.com for more information. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Advent Health.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. There's a lot of talk about the upcoming summer games, so today we're helping you go for the golden life. Joining us now with how to bring back the wow in your life is 2020's Miss Canada Classique and the author of You Were Born Wow, Katja Stern. Katja, it is so great to see you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So in addition to the book that you wrote, I know you worked alongside your mentor and best-selling author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Jack Canfield. You contributed a chapter to one of his books. Tell me a little bit about that and how it was working alongside him.
He's amazing. And he taught me a lot, and his book is all about success, and this book was also called Success, How to Achieve That in Life. And one of the things that Jack shared with me and all his followers and students is define a goal. What is it for you? And a lot of people, especially women, are kind of lost, especially after 40, what's my gold medal? Mm-hmm. What is it for you? So when we define, when we know what it is, then we can go for it. That's what I learned from Jack. Your goal, get on the goal, find it, and find the goal that will bring you pleasure.
And you say one of the best ways to do that and to reach your goals is to embrace discipline.
Absolutely. I mean, we wanted to to skip that part, but no. It's going to be hard sometimes, but that's okay. You're not going to succeed every time, and again, that's okay. That's how you get to your gold medal, by doing things, not just learning about it, not just reading about it, but actually doing. And even if you experience that failure, which doesn't really exist, you get feedback. Mm-hmm. And that means next time you can improve, and you will. Otherwise, if there's no action, there's nothing to improve.
Yeah, and I was speaking of elite athletes. I follow Tom Brady like millions of other people do, and he did talk a lot about discipline, about how he got to where he is by never letting go of that discipline, and also embracing resilience, because you talk a little bit about failure, which you say there's no such thing, because as long as you're moving forward in life, you're really not failing.
Absolutely, you're not failing. It's the experience and growth. So it's something that you did today. Okay, you may not like it, but it's getting up tomorrow and doing the same thing and better.
And I think one thing a lot of women learn the hard way, including myself, is that if you don't take time for self-care, which seems selfish. You say self-care to a woman and she automatically thinks I should be giving. Well, me giving left me with an autoimmune disease. It left me sick. It left me tired. It left me broken. And I don't think and it took me years to recover from that. So letting yourself go is not a good idea.
Burnout is not a gold medal. Mm-mm. And that's what we think. We think that by getting it and being this, I'm a busy woman, we treat that as a gold medal, which is not, because you're not going to have the energy, you're not going to have the anything to give if you're not taking care of yourself first. And it's hard to put yourself on a pedestal before we put everybody else, but that has to be done. Give yourself that medal of self-care.
I like that. That's a really good one. Let's talk about you as Miss Canada Classique, that experience, what you learned from it, the growth.
Well, first of all, I joined the pageant when I was already in my 40s, and before that, I wasn't confident enough, because I thought that those women are absolutely perfect. They're just aliens. And when I met them, they're normal people like me and you, but just they are more resilient, they know what they want, and they allow themselves to be queens. That's also a very important step, but by allowing yourself to, okay, this is what I want, I'm gonna go for it, because then once you make that decision, there's this nagging voice, who are you to do this? You're not pretty enough. You are not tall enough. You are this, you too. Stop it. Go for it. Allow yourself to win.
I love it. Katja, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you on Bloom.
Thank you. Again, it's a pleasure to be sharing this. gold medal with it.
We love it, and I love the
And
gold
they'll
dress.
think I'm
It's
gold.
She is the gold medal.
Our gold
I
medals.
love it. We're going to share Katya's story on BloomTampaBay.com. And when we come back, we're getting you ready for the Bloom Health Expo inside the air-conditioned Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center, where you can get free screenings and have access to some of the top health professionals in Tampa Bay. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. Welcome back. We are gearing up for the Bloom Health Expo, your chance to get free screenings and meet top health professionals in Tampa Bay. This incredible family-free event takes place this Saturday inside the air-conditioned Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center, where I had the chance to meet the top trainer for our Bucs, who helped our team win another championship. I'm with Anthony Paroli, the head strength and conditioning coach for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anthony, how cool it is to be in here. Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting today.
Yeah, this is great. So what is it like training our Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
It's probably a daunting task, but it's one that we take happily. It's been a good time going on year 5 here with the Bucs. A lot of growth in that time, both within our department as a whole, as well as the roster changes throughout the years, and looking forward to another season coming up here.
And already, I mean, the training has already started and will continue through the summer months.
Yeah. So we're about 3 weeks in. We just finished our 3rd week of the off season for the voluntary phase. 2 more weeks in phase 2 right now, followed by 3 weeks, and then head to mini camp the 2nd week of June.
So how do you keep our Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tip-top condition? I mean, I know it's a balance.
Yeah, so it's definitely a balance, and we really like to focus on everything, keeping the end in mind, the sport being that point, and each year, it's obviously a new year. We're trying to get these guys better year after year, but at the same time, the things that we're doing, it's always a means to an end, and being what they have to do on the field.
And also these guys, they're in the same kind of positioning, you said a lot. Like they're taking the same pose, so you have to worry about getting them balanced and making sure everything functions.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we get closer to the competitive season, when they're actually going through training camp and the season itself, sometimes the work doesn't look like it would be directed towards getting necessarily better at the things that they would be doing on the field. Sometimes certain position groups have overuse injuries that could occur from a postural standpoint, and we could relate that to a lot of daily activities or work-based activities like sitting at a computer, how these negatively affect our posture that we're all very aware of.
And what's it like with this extreme heat? Because our Bucs players, I mean, they're in it all the time, and I know you have different parts of the training facility where you can balance that out as well.
It's definitely an added stressor for sure. One that everybody doesn't actually get acclimated to from other parts of the country. So, it's up to us to make sure that we're balancing how much is enough for our guys to be acclimated without how much being too much, so that we don't actually go over that. And there's definitely a fine line in that. But once our guys are here for about 2 weeks practicing in it, they're pretty acclimated to the weather. But, with that being said, working out on the grass or practicing on the grass is definitely one that they would much rather do for their actual joints. Sometimes it's up to us just to protect them from themselves and just force practice to go indoors just to have a little reprieve from the weather.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for this today. I know you've played a huge role with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization of expanding how our players play their best, so thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And what's really cool is this is going to be your chance to actually see the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Advent Health Training Center firsthand. So come on out to the Bloom Health Expo and get ready to bloom. Come out and join us at the Bloom Health Expo this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. inside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Advent Health Training Center. And we hope to see you there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Bloom. Striking a healthy balance between spending time with your dog and managing your personal responsibilities can be challenging for some pet owners. Joining us now with ways to set boundaries with your four-legged friend is lifestyle expert Anastasia Turchetta. Thank you so much for being here.
Gail, thank you. Gibbs and I are honored to be back.
So why is it so important to set boundaries with your dog?
It is so important because it helps the dog to understand what behaviors are acceptable. So basically you're creating structure, safety for them, and for them when they know what to expect routine-wise, clear expectations, then basically you're reducing stress and anxiety for your pet, and you're also helping to prevent behavioral issues.
So what are some of the ways that I can manage my time effectively to balance my dog's needs and then my own personal needs?
Gail, that's a great question, and I think it will vary differently every day for the person. So example, you're a wife, you're a mom, you've got stuff going on with your job. For, knowing first of all the breed of your pet and their age and their health will help direct you to that task. Prioritize it. How much exercise do they need a day? Do they need to be walked once or twice a day? Gibbs, high energy dog, he needs at least 3 walks a day. So then you want to make sure, that they get physical, that they're exercised, and then also for mental stimulation, and this prevents behavioral issues. So mental stimulation, the recommended amount is 20 to 30 minutes a day. You don't have to do that all at one time though. You can chunk that up into 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
And you have some low-cost ways to keep our dogs' minds occupied.
Absolutely, right? Who wants to be bored? The same thing with our pets. If they're bored, they're going to do some destructual habits, whether it be to our house or clothing, you name it, right?
Right.
So here's what you could do. We've got toys. I recommend rotating toys out. This is for July 4th, clearly. Then we've got some for the summer. He won't see these until the time. There's one for Halloween, and this one, call him maybe, I guess, if you want to, but this can travel with us or not. The other thing too is to go on hide and seek, whether or not you want to play with them and you hide in the house and they find you, or I've done with Gibbs and placed a treat somewhere, he has to find the treat. You can do snuffle mats. A training session would be sit and stay. Take them outside so they can learn how to walk with you and they're not pulling you or dragging you or getting distracted. It also helps them understand routine, and it can potentially be safety for them too, so they know not to run out the door and drag you along with them.
And are there some common mistakes that folks make when they're trying to set boundaries with their dog?
There are, Gail. You've got inconsistency with training, so that can confuse a dog. Punishment-based training, I shouldn't have to say it, but you have to say it. That's not healthy for the dog, and likely it's just not going to be working for the dog. The other thing is you want to make sure that you know the age, the health, and the breed of your dog, so that way you can direct where your training is going. Sometimes we just lump them all together instead of doing that. And I think those are the top 3 to be able to help understand what the mistakes are and how you can guide your training.
Okay, we only have seconds left, but what happens when only one person in the household consistently follows the boundaries?
It's a great question to end on. And the first thing to think of is it confuses the dog. So if they're confused, we cannot be upset with their behavior because they really don't know where to go. They're looking for leadership and they're looking for clear expectations, and they will bond with that person. So why not keep them healthy and happy and bond with the entire family?
I love it. Well, this is some great advice. A lot for us to chew on, Gibbs, and that
love it.
Toys and all the things. And what we're going to do is we're going to share all of this incredible advice with you on bloomtampabay.com, and we look forward to the next visit from Anastasia and Gibbs.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back with more Bloom. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. Come along with me to Curtis Dixon Park and find out how staying fit is free and easy in downtown Tampa. And the Today Show's Joy Bauer is sharing delicious frozen treats to help keep you cool this summer. Stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Advent Health.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.